She said, "You take everything too seriously." I said, "Even love?" She laughed and walked away. 3 weeks later, she saw what not taking it seriously really looked like, and who was laughing then. I, 30 male, am an analyst. I spend my days looking at data, finding patterns, and assessing risk. It's not a flashy job, but I'm good at it, and it's afforded me a very comfortable life. My girlfriend, Maya, 28, is not an analyst. She's a visionary, a creative force, a free spirit. Her words. We've been together for 2 years. For most of that time, her vision was what I loved about her. She was exciting, spontaneous, and saw the world in colors I didn't. I saw it in spreadsheets. About 8 months ago, she came to me with her biggest vision, a high-end, curated consignment boutique. Not a dusty thrift shop, but a place for the city's elite to resell their $5,000 handbags and last-season runway pieces. She called it Elon. She had the passion. I had the capital. I loved her. I believed in her. But I'm still an analyst. I put up $80,000 of my own savings. I didn't just hand her a check. I formed an LLC. I hired a lawyer to draft the operating agreement. I took an 80% stake for my 80K capital, and she got 20% for her sweat equity and curation. I signed the 2-year commercial lease on a small, chic spot in a trendy neighborhood. I set up the business bank account. I was the investor. She was the face. This was my one smart, risk-assessing move. For 6 months, it was great. She was energized, sourcing inventory, designing the interior. I was happy to see her happy, even as the startup costs kept climbing. Then about 2 months ago, Bastien, 30M, showed up. He was a branding guru she'd met at some networking event. He had floppy hair, wore scarves indoors, and spoke exclusively in buzzwords. We're not just selling clothes, Leo, we're selling synergy. He was, in short, a complete tool. Suddenly, Maya's vision required Bastien's input on everything, and his input was expensive. Leo, Bastien thinks the logo is too static. We need a full redesign. It's only $5,000. Leo, Bastien says our web presence is weak. He knows a guy who can build a custom portal for $10,000. I started checking the business debit card statements. I'm the only one with login access to the main account. She just has the card. The charges were weird. Client dinner at Le Serpent for $12 on a Monday night. The store wasn't even open. Strategy retreat at the Ember Hotel, $1,250, a hotel with a notorious spa. Consulting fee BV, $5,000. And another one a week later, consulting fee $5,000. I waited for her to come home to the apartment, my lease, my name. She just lives here. She waltzed in around 11 p.m., smelling like champagne and someone else's cologne. Hey babe, she said, kissing the air near my face. Maya, we need to talk. These business expenses are insane. You've paid Bastien $10,000 in 2 weeks. And what was the $1,200 hotel retreat? She tossed her teas in the bowl. Oh my God, Leo, relax. It's just networking. You have to spend money to make money. Bastien has connections. That retreat was just us planning the Q4 launch. You wouldn't get it. I get spreadsheets, Maya. And this spreadsheet says you're bleeding my investment on dinners and spas. What's really going on with you and this guy? She finally turned to look at me, and her face was just bored, annoyed, like I was a fly. You take everything so seriously, Leo. It's just a project. It's just money. It's boring. My stomach went cold. Just a project? My $80,000 is just a project? I stood up. What about us? Is that just a project too? Even love, Maya? She laughed. Not a little giggle, a full, throaty, pitying laugh, like I just told a really stupid, childish joke. Ugh, Leo, you're so heavy. She picked up her purse, a $3,000 designer bag I'd bought her, and walked out the door. Just walked away. I stood there in the quiet for a long time. That laugh, it echoed. It wasn't a we're in a fight laugh. It was a you don't matter laugh. And that's when something in me just clicked, switched off. The analyst took over. She's right. I take things too seriously. I took her seriously. I took her dreams seriously. My mistake. She thinks it's just a project. Fine. I'll treat it like one. A failed one. She's been planning a massive grand opening gala. It's in 3 weeks. She's been sending out invites, talking to caterers. She thinks she's launching a brand. She has no idea I'm about to launch the liquidation. I opened my laptop and emailed my lawyer. Time to dissolve an LLC. Update 1. 1 week later. It's been a week since the laugh. I haven't seen Maya. She's been crashing at Bastion's, I assume. I don't care. I've been busy. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Alana, was almost giddy. This is why we draft ironclad operating agreements, Leo. You own 80%. You are the sole signatory on the lease. You have every right to dissolve the LLC, absorb the losses, and liquidate the assets. What about the lease? I asked. You'll have to negotiate a termination. Probably pay a penalty, but it's better than funding a sinking ship for 2 years. The first thing I did was the deep dive. I pulled the full, itemized bank statements for the LLC. It was so much worse than I thought. She hadn't just been paying Bastion's consulting fees. She'd been paying for everything. $2,100 for a new laptop, tagged as office hardware. $800 for luggage, tagged as inventory transport. Weekly charges at Les Serpents, the Ember Hotel, Perigee, all coded as client meetings. She'd spent $32,000. Stolen. It was just straight up theft. My hands weren't even shaking. I just felt cold. Efficient. This wasn't a girlfriend making a mistake. This was a con artist. And I was the mark. Step 1. The account. I walked into the bank, showed my ID, and the LLC documents proving I was the managing member. I froze the account. Not closed, frozen. All transactions blocked, including the debit card she had. I didn't have to wait long. About 4 hours later, my phone rang. Leo! She wasn't laughing now. She was shrieking. My card, it declined. At the printers. For the invitations, Leo. The grand opening invitations. What did you do? I put my feet up on my desk. Oh, that's weird. Must be a security flag. The bank's probably just being overly cautious. Well, fix it, she screeched. I have to pay the deposit. I have to pay Bastien. He's waiting for his payment. This is so embarrassing. Bastien needs his payment. The audacity. Gosh, Maya, I'm really busy with a project at work. You know how I am, always taking things so seriously. I let that hang in the air. I'll look into it when I get a chance. You might have to cover it for now. Cover it? With what? You know I don't have that kind of money. That's what the business is for. You fix this, Leo. You fix it now. Sorry, you're breaking up, I said to the crystal clear line. Talk later. Click. I blocked her number. Step 2. The landlord. I met with the commercial property manager. He was a gruff older guy who'd seen it all. She's running it into the ground? He asked. She's run it. Past tense. I'm dissolving the LLC. I need out of the lease. He sighed. That's a 2-year note, son. You signed it. I know. What's the penalty? We haggled. He was tough, but I was motivated. We settled on a termination fee, $15,000. It was 3 months' rent. I wrote him a check from my personal account. The space needs to be broom swept and empty by the 20th, he said. That's 2 weeks from now. It'll be empty by Friday, I replied. Step 3. The assets. I spent the next 3 days at Alon. I hired a consignment broker, not to sell the stuff, but to buy it. In bulk, all the designer bags I paid for, the racks of high-end clothes I sourced, the custom-built antique counter that I spent $10,000 on. The broker gave me 60 cents on the dollar. I didn't care. It was cash. I sold the fixtures, the lighting, the velvet synergy couch Bastien insisted on. Sold it all for pennies. By Friday, the store was a concrete shell. Just like when I first signed the lease. I've moved all my personal belongings out of our apartment. I put them in storage. I'm staying at a corporate hotel for now. The lease on the apartment is up at the end of next month, and I've already given notice. She can have the empty apartment. Here's the fun part. Maya is still planning the grand opening. She must have found some way to pay for the invitations. Maybe borrowed from Bastien or her parents. She's been posting about it on Instagram. Counting down the days, Elon grand opening boss babe. She's been sending me angry texts from Bastien's phone, which I've also blocked. She has no idea. She's inviting 100 of the city's elite to a party in an empty, locked concrete box. The grand opening is next Tuesday. I might just have to watch from a distance. Update 2, 3 weeks later, the grand opening. Tonight was the night, the big grand opening gala for Elon. The last 2 weeks have been quiet. I finalized the dissolution of the LLC after the lease termination. The for lease sign went up in the store window 4 days ago. Maya has been completely dark. I assume she's been so busy planning her party that she hasn't even driven by her own store. The level of delusion is breathtaking. I couldn't not go. I'm not a monster. I'm an analyst. I need to see the data. I posted up at a wine bar across the street, had a perfect view of the storefront. I ordered a very expensive Cabernet and a cheese plate. I earned it. 7 p.m., the caterers arrive, a big white van. Two guys get out, look at the for lease sign, look at their clipboard, and start making confused phone calls. This is amazing. 7:15 p.m., Maya and Bastien pull up, not in her old Jetta, in a gleaming black rented Tesla. Of course, she gets out. She's wearing, I don't even know, a silver dress that looks like it's made of tinfoil, a ball gown. She looks like a baked potato. Bastien is in a velvet suit, in summer. 7 since she strides up to the door, arm in arm with him. She puts her key in the lock. It doesn't turn. She jiggles it. She tries again. She looks annoyed. She knocks. Leo, are you in there? What's wrong with the key? She puts her face to the glass, and she freezes. I can see her, even from across the street. The panic. She's looking right through the glass at an empty concrete box. The antique counter is gone. The racks are gone. The velvet couch is gone. The only thing in there is an old broom I left in the corner. She starts backing away from the door, shaking her head. Bastien, who's been on his phone, finally looks up. What is it, darling? It's locked? He looks. His face goes slack. 7:20 p.m. The first guests arrive. An older couple in black tie. They walk up, see Maya, see the for lease sign, see the confused caterers. The woman says something, pats Maya's arm, and they get right back in their Uber. This is the moment. My phone buzzes. A number I don't recognize. Her mother's, a friend's. I pick up. Leo, where is it? Where is my store? It's pure, undiluted animal panic. I've never heard a sound like it. The guests are here. The caterers are here. Leo, what is happening? I take a sip of my wine. What store, Maya? Elon, my store, our store. It's empty. The sign is gone. The counter is gone. Leo, did we get robbed? Oh, that, I said, swirling my glass. That project. Yeah, I decided not to take it seriously anymore. You were right, Maya. It's just a project. It's just money. Silence. A horrible, strangled silence. Then Bastien's voice in the background, sharp and ugly. What did he say? What did he do? The funding. You said he was a done deal. You said he was wrapped around your finger. Uh-oh. He wasn't supposed to say the quiet part out loud. Leo? Maya's voice is a whisper now. You can't. I did, I said, and I felt a smile spread across my face. A real one. You taught me to lighten up, to not be so heavy. And you know what? It feels great. I'm actually laughing, Maya. See? This is hilarious. I'm going to sue you, she roars, the panic turning to rage. I'm going to ruin you. I'll call the police. For what? For dissolving an LLC I own 80% of? For selling inventory I paid for? For terminating a lease I signed with my own money to cover your theft? Good luck with that. Don't take it so seriously, babe. I hung up. I watched for another 10 minutes. More guests arrived. More Ubers pulled up, paused, and pulled away. It was a parade of confusion and secondhand embarrassment. Maya was just standing on the sidewalk in her tinfoil dress, screaming into her phone. Bastien was yelling at the caterers. Finally, she just crumpled, sat right down on the curb, her head in her hands. Bastien threw his velvet-suited arms up, kicked the for lease sign, and stormed off down the street, leaving her there. I finished my wine, paid my bill, and walked home. I think I'll sleep well tonight. Final update. 1 month later. The dust has settled. The silence has been profound. I moved into a new apartment. It's smaller, just a 1-bedroom, but it's all mine. The lease I was in, the one she lived in, is done. I left her the keys and a copy of the final utility bill. But as expected, the entitlement wave wasn't over. It just changed tactics. Dirty trick 1, the mother. About a week after the gala, I got a call from an unknown number. It was her mother, Lorraine. Lorraine. Leo, honey, thank God. Maya is just, she's a wreck. I don't know what kind of fight you two had, but you need to fix this. Me. There's nothing to fix, Lorraine. The business is dissolved. The relationship is over. Lorraine. Don't be dramatic. You promised her this store. You can't just take a girl's dream away because you're in a mood. She put her soul into that. Me. She put $32,000 of my money into her soulmate, Bastien. I have the bank statements. She's a thief, Lorraine. There was a pause. A cold one. Bastien is a lovely young man. She's a creative person, Leo. Creatives are fluid. You're just an accountant. You can't put a price on that kind of vision. Now, I expect you to do the right thing. Apologize and buy her a new store. A better one. I was speechless. The sheer unmitigated gall. Buy her a new one. Me, Lorraine, you are delusional. I hung up. Dirty trick 2, the guru. 2 days later, a certified letter arrives. It's from Bastion Vanguard Strategies. It's an invoice for $25,000. Line items included: brand strategy and realignment $15,000, synergistic vision casting $5,000, emotional labor and creative support $5,000. He was invoicing me for emotional labor. I laughed so hard I cried. My lawyer, Alana, did not laugh. She was furious. Her response letter was a work of art. It was not sent to Bastien. It was sent to the district attorney's office. It included my LLC agreement, the bank statements showing every single transfer to Bastien, the hotel bills, the restaurant charges, and a very polite query about potential criminal fraud and conspiracy to defraud an investor. She CC'd Bastien on it. The Vanguard Strategies website was offline within an hour. I have not heard from Mr. Bastien since. The legal fallout. Maya did try to sue. She found a lawyer who works on contingency. That lawyer sent me a very threatening letter demanding $150,000 for breach of contract, theft of intellectual property, the Elon name, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Alana sent back one box. Inside the box was the 80/20 LLC operating agreement, signed by Maya with the dissolution clause highlighted, the complete, itemized bank statements showing the $32,000 in fraudulent charges, the receipt from the consignment broker for the inventory, the signed lease termination agreement with the $15,000 penalty check stub. Maya's lawyer called Alana the next day, not to argue, to apologize. He said he was dropping her as a client, effective immediately, as she had grossly misrepresented the facts of the case. The final scoreboard. Maya? Broke. She's living with Lorraine. She's being hounded by the caterer, the rental company, and the printer for the bills she racked up for the party. She has no store, no money, and no rich accountant boyfriend. Has vanished. I suspect Alana's letter to the DA sent him scurrying back to whatever hole he crawled out of. Me, I'm out about $45,000. The $32,000 she stole. The $15,000 lease penalty, minus the $2,000 I got back for the fixtures. It's a $45,000 lesson. It's the stupidest, most expensive tuition I've ever paid. It stings. I'm not a hero. I'm an idiot who got played. I feel that. But I'm also free. I'm in my new apartment, drinking a cheap beer, looking at my own spreadsheets. I was vulnerable. I did take love seriously. She saw that as a weakness, a tap she could just open and drain. So I did what I do best. I assessed the risk, cut the loss, and liquidated the asset. I heard from an old mutual friend that Maya tells people I'm cold, calculating, and sociopathic. You know what? I can live with that. It's a hell of a lot better than being the heavy, boring guy who's too serious. She wanted me to lighten up. She just didn't like it when I did.